This is the EVP Podcast.
That is correct. You are listening to the EVP Podcast with your hosts. I'm Ghosty.
And I am Beaker.
And welcome back, y'all, to the Christmas episode, the haunted Christmas episode of the year.
The last episode of the year.
Mwahaha. So this episode, we're going to be talking about some haunted, some Christmas ghost stories. But before we get into that, there's some crazy shit going down on the East Coast lately, which is, I'm sure you guys have heard of all the drone activity. What do you think about this, Beaker?
Well, they're drones. They're flying. They're doing their thing.
So,
and it's freaking out the whole damn country, apparently.
Well, apparently these drones are capable of going faster than our drones, and they're bigger than our drones. And so when we try to chase them or see whatever, they just outrun ours real quick. And from what they've been saying is that it seems like they're coming from the ocean.
Yes, I've been hearing this.
And I've heard other things that said that they came out of the water, actually. I don't know how true that is, but there was, I think the mayor of New Jersey was saying that they have reports of drones coming out of the water and then going towards the city. But the government's over here telling all the senators and the lawmakers there in those states that not to worry about anything.
It reminds me of that scene from Star Wars where Han Solo is talking to the Imperials on the radio. He's like, it's fine. We're all fine here now. Everything's great. How are you?
Yeah,
that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Right.
It's like there's nothing to see here. Move along, folks.
But they're saying that there's no threat, but at the same time they're not saying where these drones are coming from, or they act like they don't know.
Okay, so watching this video here on CNN, and apparently, so we're using the word apparently a lot today.
Yeah,
apparently, this is unacceptable to have so much unexplained drone activity, according to the guy in New Jersey. It's crazy because there's actually one of the truck drivers here in Utah, in Delta, Utah specifically, that has been following this shit for 2 years. He's been seeing all sorts of drone or UAP activity for 2 years in Delta. And he's been telling me all about this at work because he's fascinated by this stuff, about the drones coming out, pointing out lights and stuff like that, to the point where he actually came and grabbed me and had me come outside with him and showed me some weird, unusual night activity that was going on here in the Salt Lake Valley. We were clear on the west side, 5600 West, and we were seeing it on the Wasatch Mountain Range.
On the east side, so across the valley on the other mountain range, you were able to see all that.
These bright lights that were just lighting up really bright, and they were in this kind of Z pattern going up the mountain. And at first I'm like, maybe it's just a random ass fire that is just out of control. But then I was thinking back, I've seen fires on the mountains before. You see the entire trail. It doesn't get really bright in some spots and then just fades away and disappears altogether. And a couple of minutes later, they start lighting up in just random orders. And just to make sure, the next morning when I came into work, because it's still dark at 5 in the morning, the lights were still doing the same thing, randomly turning on and off. Granted, it could have been maybe people's houses, but that just seems really weird.
There weren't cars coming down the mountain?
I don't think so.
That's pretty crazy. So remember
when normally, that far away, you don't see the headlights of cars. You'll see maybe the lights on the houses and stuff.
Try next time you're at work. Try looking at it again and see if you still see them. Just play with it.
I mean, he was saying there was some drone activity going over Hill Air Force Base recently, and was it Camp Williams?
Yeah,
the training camp there in Redwood.
So
they're just these large drone things, just over the top of the military bases. And he said he's seen them down there in Delta. They've got a big power plant they're building to supply California and all the wonderful electric car drivers. They got to charge them somehow, and Utah's doing it.
All right.
No, so they are building a big power plant down there. But for the last 2 years, he's been seeing all sorts of activity. He drives, the semis. They're regulated at 75, and he said for 6 miles. There was one that followed him, matched his speed the entire time.
Crazy.
It's not something a normal airplane would do.
Right.
And if it was someone like flying a drone, they probably can think of better things to do with their drone than following a milk truck for 6 miles. You know what I mean?
Right. And some of the people that were like on boats out there in the water out there in New Jersey area, they've been saying that they'd have like a dozen to 2 dozen of them following their boat, like out there in the water for no reason, just following them.
So, and he's been explaining this to me, like how the lights work. Like on a normal aircraft, he was pointing this all out to me, like we were outside. He's like, see the actual airplanes, like one side will flash red, one side will flash green. He's like, that's like a law. They have to have these flashing lights on them. He's pointing out all these drones. Like looking at these videos of the drone here,
They have flashing
they
lights
have
on
flashing lights, but the ones that we're seeing here in Utah, or he's seeing, don't.
Well, the one I saw the other month, remember when I was telling you about
Yeah,
it?
you were saying you saw it outside your front door.
Right. And that one was not as high up as like a star or anything, and it was lower, and that's what I was thinking too. Like, is that some kind of a drone just sitting there? But it didn't have the flashing lights. And it was weird that it was up at that high, but not as high, out of the atmosphere, but just sitting there. It was really weird.
Yeah, most aircrafts don't just sit in one spot either.
Oh, so one of the weird thing is that they're trying to say, I think it's the government trying to make us like at ease of what's going on, is that
Oh yeah?
yeah, is that they said that there was some radioactive material that was stolen out of a cargo ship on the in the harbor there in New Jersey or something, and those things went missing on December 2nd, and that's about a couple days after that is when all these drones started being sighted.
Interesting.
And I wonder if what's this radioactive material? Is it alien stuff that we brought over here and they intercepted and took it back?
Maybe. I don't know. But now that you mention it, reminds me, he was showing me a video, the driver at my work was showing me a video that he's taken personally with a cell phone. And he was following the light, and it was interesting because, you and I both feel energy in pictures sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could clearly feel like there was a trail of energy like behind this light because it was like moving from left to right across the screen, and everything left of this light, I could feel all this like energy behind it, and I'm like, I don't know if there's like another ship that's like invisible somehow behind it, or if it's leaving some sort of trail of radiation. But there was, I could feel a lot of energy in this video behind the light going on, which I've never really tried that with actual airplanes to see if they do the same thing or if I feel the same thing. But I'm kind of curious now. Because, there was something in the video, like there was a lot of energy, but it wasn't in front of the light, the direction that it was going. It was all the energy was behind it.
That's interesting. But yeah, this is some weird shit, and especially when all these politicians are asking the government to give them answers and they're still not getting them, and the government's just telling them, everything's fine, nothing to see here, everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
We're all fine here now.
But they're not saying who's doing it or where they're coming from. That's what's crazy. But Christmas time, y'all. It's Christmas time.
Is it?
It is Christmas time. So
Merry Christmas, bitches. It's in 2 days.
Oh, shit, yeah. Better go get your last-minute gifts already. Shit.
Yeah, you've got, like, tomorrow when you're listening to this, when it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. If you don't have your presents for your loved ones, good on you. You must be Jehovah's Witness, and I wholeheartedly agree with their sentiment on holidays. The driver's also Jehovah's Witness. He's been telling me about his religion, and I find it very fascinating. And I agree with him 100% on not celebrating holidays. So here we are celebrating Christmas with you guys on the EVP podcast.
Let's celebrate ghosts and Christmas ghosts. All right, so we got 13 Christmas ghost stories that we'll read off to you. The first one is called The Legend of the Mistletoe Bride Who Haunts England's Bramshill House. So the legend of the Mistletoe Bride has been retold for centuries and has taken many forms. While the story's true origin is difficult to determine, many have come to believe its roots are in the disappearance of Lord Level's bride at the Bramshill House in Hampshire, England. Allegedly, Lord Level was preparing to wed a young woman related to Sir John Cope, who was the owner of Bramshill House. This was around Christmas time, so mistletoe hung throughout the mansion, inspiring the wedding party to play a game. The young bride-to-be would hide somewhere in the mansion, the groomsmen would all seek her out, and whoever found her first would get to kiss her. That's weird.
So they made a movie on this. Hide and Seek. But they killed the bride.
Oh, well, let's find out what
Have
happens.
you not seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
I don't think it's based on this story, but it sounds a lot like that movie.
Okay, so the bride went to hide, and the wedding party sought to find her. However, the minutes turned to hours, and they still could not find her. Eventually, the game turned terribly serious, as no matter where they looked, she remained missing. Not until 50 years later did Lord Level, still seeking answers to his bride's disappearance, happen upon a secret closet in an upstairs room of the Bramshill house. Inside, he found a wooden chest sealed shut with a lock. Upon opening the chest, he found the nearly unrecognizable remains of his bride.
Interesting.
Holy shit. She, ultimate hide-and-go-seek champion.
Yeah, 50
50
years.
years.
I don't know if anyone's lasted longer than that.
No, that's a
Hitler.
That's a record. That's if he's still hiding.
Yeah. They've been tracking him. Tracking him. They've been trying to find him. There's a whole
I think he's in
series
Venezuela or something, right?
Yeah, so South or Central America, somewhere there. Next up, we have the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, who wanders the passage every Christmas. Or passages, even. She might do more than one. We're not sure. And because your last story, they were in England, it was probably Hampshire. Anyway, one British person is going to be angry with me on that one. I'll just give you a clue who. The Brown Lady of, oh my goodness, Raynham. Was it Raynham Hall? Has perplexed visitors and paranormal investigators for hundreds of years. Back in the 1700s, owner Charles Townsend. Oh my gosh. This isn't my episode. I can't be messing up. Anyways, Charles married a young woman named Dorothy Walpole. While they lived happily together for some time in Raynham Hall, Townsend soon became paranoid that his new wife was being unfaithful to him. Eventually driving himself mad with jealousy, he decided to hide Dorothy away in the hall, telling all of their friends and family that she had tragically passed. Dorothy was forced to stay inside the mansion, allowed only to wander through its halls. Not long after, she perished, never having left Raynham Hall after her husband imprisoned her. Ever since her passing, people have witnessed the image of a woman in a tattered brown dress wandering through the halls, and some of these reported encounters are truly horrifying. One visitor, unaware of the Brown Lady's legend, approached a woman in the hall only to have her look at him with a glowing face, but where her eyes should have been, there were only empty sockets. Sounds like a demon.
Oh, that's a demon.
That's a demon. Years later, after numerous other reported sightings, a photographer from Country Life magazine visited Raynham Hall to document it for an article. After snapping a photograph of the central stairwell, he saw within the image a hazy silhouette that many believe and is none other than Dorothy Walpole, the Brown Lady.
The Brown Lady.
I'm going to save this to my computer right now so I can put that on the social media for y'all.
Oh, right.
Done.
All right, the next story is an old Victorian house is allegedly haunted by an eccentric woman every Christmas. One group of ghosts from the Stark family has created quite a legacy for themselves. The Starks left behind numerous spirits that are now haunting a Victorian home in Ludington, Michigan, and visitors have reported numerous sightings, particularly around Christmas. One such specter, Vera Stark, was well known in life for her eccentricities and seems to have brought them with her into the afterlife. Those who claim to have seen her ghost say she appears in the front yard of the home wearing only a fur coat and picking flowers. Only a fur coat?
Only a fur coat.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like some special times.
Yeah, I guess that's what she did in life. In addition, the ghost of one of the Stark daughters who suffered a terrible mishap in the mansion's gymnasium can allegedly be seen walking through the halls of the home. The current owners of the home have even attempted to open it up to historical tours, but they apparently ran into problems. Our spirits did not care for it being open to the public and went wild.
Those jerks.
Oh.
Like, this is our home. Stay out.
Well, it's cool that they were open to the idea of letting people investigate, but apparently,
Apparently.
the ghost did not like it.
Let's go with allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, you know what I'm thinking here is they probably got a lot of people, like, asking for this. Like, hey, let us come investigate. Hey, let's do that. And they didn't want to, so they're just like, no, the ghosts are angry.
So they probably say, yeah, we let a couple people in. The ghost didn't like it. They asked them to leave, and they asked us to never do this again.
Yeah. That's such a great way to get people to stop asking, though.
Right?
Like, no, we can't do it. The ghost, we don't want the ghost to be angry with us.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. Or the ghost really don't want people there. Like, I don't know. There's only one way to know. That's to go and find out.
Let's go bother the house.
Yeah, let's bother the house. Just don't tell them. Show up unannounced. People love that. Totally not against the law. So next we have an alleged phantom or phantoms that plague a Brooklyn home during Christmas time.
Ooh.
Now, a few weeks before Christmas in 1878, Edward F. Smith was at his home in Brooklyn, New York, when the doorbell rang. He entered the door, but no one was there.
Damn kids.
This soon became a nightly occurrence. The doorbell would ring, only for Smith to find no one outside and no signs that anyone had been there at all. The ding-dong ditch champions here.
Mm-hmm.
Growing frustrated, Smith sprinkled ash and flour along the path to the door, expecting to find footprints left behind, but the substances were undisturbed and the noises continued. No matter where he and his family stood around the house, the noises remained unidentifiable. Smith and his family were growing more concerned as the doorbell ringing turned to aggressive banging on the doors. Eventually, they contacted the police. The ringing and banging continued, and still no one was able to identify its source. One night, a brick suddenly flew through the window from outside, even though the police officers were standing nearby and saw no one.
Oh, shit.
Although they investigated the home for some time, police were unable to identify the cause of the disturbances. Smith and those who witnessed the strange occurrences ultimately concluded they must be paranormal in nature.
Okay, so does this reoccur every year then? Because it sounded like this was a one-time thing.
Yeah, it does sound like a one-time thing.
Yeah, and it just happened to be around Christmas time. These sons of bees...
A lot of these stories are just, they happen to be around Christmas time. But I don't think they have anything to do with Christmas.
Well, this next one does say that it happens every December.
Okay.
So this is a headless horseman allegedly haunts Roos Hall every December. All right, Roos Hall is a mysterious mansion in the English countryside. It's rumored to be one of the most haunted places in England. Located just outside the small town of Beccles in the county of Suffolk, the mansion has accumulated plenty of ghost stories ever since it was first built in the 16th century. Haunted. Yep.
F.
Yep, it meets the criteria right there.
Sure does.
One of the most horrifying stories is that of the Headless Horseman. Many people may be familiar with this legend, but at Roos Hall, it takes on a life of its own. Numerous visitors to Roos Hall have reported a man on a horse riding toward them on the road, only to discover that he has no head. Allegedly, on Christmas Eve, the headless man is often seen clattering down the driveway with his phantom coach and 4 horses.
See, allegedly, that's the new word.
Yeah, that's what we're going to start using now. And this is only the beginning of Roos Hall's ghostly existence. Other rumors claim that there are strange markings inside the hall known as devil's footprints, and some have even reported seeing a girl watching them from the windows.
I'm curious of these devil's footprints.
Yeah. Well, I'm also curious about the last story that you read about had he put ash and flour down. Isn't that supposed to like catch ghostly footprints at all as well?
Well, you would think that's what they'd say in that game Phasmophobia that I play. You put salt down and they disturb the salt, and you can find footprints. They did that in Paranormal Activity, the first one. Where you remember you put the flour down and you see the footprints appearing in the. But the thing is like when it comes to spirits, in my opinion, they're not gonna really. They don't always interact with the physical world around them.
Right. I wouldn't imagine them leaving footprints anyways.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's too far-fetched to...
What he should have done is put flour all down the
But
door.
the thing is, so if he's thinking it's an actual person, right?
Yeah. So he's
So
thinking
I don't think he was thinking it
person.
was, because it said at the end of the story, that's when they concluded it was paranormal in nature. So originally they're trying to find out like who did it and
He's
which
probably
direction
setting
they...
out traps to kill these kids.
Yes, exactly. Starting with flour and ash or whatever it was. But the fact that there's no footprints leading to or from the door is what gets them really confused.
There's probably gunpowder so he could light it and blow those kids up.
Just like Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny
Yeah. That's where they got the idea for the cartoons.
from the 1800s,
Yep.
Brooklyn, New York.
Duh.
Where are we at now? We're at the ghost of Sir Geoffrey de Mandeville and his headless dog who roam the streets on Christmas Eve.
Oh, see, now I like these stories that are every December.
And headless dogs.
Yes, everything's Tesla.
2 headless stories in a row. The story of Sir Geoffrey is brimming with political betrayals. He held the title of Earl of Essex and was a prestigious European landowner during the 1100s. Because of his title, he had a great influence over royal politics at the time. However, when a debate emerged regarding the rightful heir to the throne, he chose the losing side and was promptly stripped of many of his assets and excommunicated from the church. During his excommunication, Sir Geoffrey was slain on the battlefield, but because of his exile, he was not allowed a proper Christian interment, which many believe left his spirit trapped within the earthly realm. Rumor claims that Sir Geoffrey also left a curse on the properties he owned, stating that, should they ever be taken away from him, ruin would befall his betrayer, and every 6 years on Christmas Eve, he and a headless dog would hunt the lands draped in a red cloak. He would even haunt them. Ever since his demise, people who have visited the properties he once owned, particularly the Prims Brook Bridge in East Barnet, have reported hearing strange sounds and witnessing the hazy image of a headless dog breaking through the fog, accompanied by a knight in full armor and a red cloak.
That's weird. Why the hell are people seeing all this other weird shit that... Was he a knight?
Well, he died on battlefield. And this was the 1100s, so it's very possible. I don't know that you're going to be on the battlefield in the 1100s not wearing armor.
Okay. But that's weird. Every 6 years. I guess he's got stuff to do.
Yeah. Well, that's when Davy Jones can come back on land. Was it every 7 years or 11 years or whatever?
Yeah,
There's something in these numbers.
Yeah, something to do with these numbers. All right, here we are. A ghost supposedly disrupted a Christmas party at Alcatraz. So this is not a reoccurring tale, but Alcatraz, the isolated penitentiary located in the middle of California's San Francisco Bay, closed down in 1963, but tales of those who were once held on the island continue to haunt generations of onlookers and visitors. Often referred to as the Rock, Alcatraz has gained a reputation for unexplainable and shocking ghost encounters, and one of the most notable was recounted during Christmas. So this was in the 40s, while the facility was still in operation. The warden at the time, his name was Warden Johnston, decided to throw a small Christmas party at his boarding house on the island. Now, during the gathering, a few of the guards began retelling the story of a phantom figure who appeared before them wearing a gray suit, brimmed cap, and sporting mutton chop sideburns. All the guards could do was stare at the ghostly figure in shock, and before they had a chance to move, the room suddenly turned very cold. The fire in the Ben Franklin stove was extinguished, and just suddenly as he had appeared, the phantom man vanished.
Interesting.
He put the fire out with him? Gosh, what a jerk.
What? Why is that being a jerk if we put the fire out? Maybe he thought it was going to burn the place down.
Now everyone's cold. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, but maybe he's not. He's dead. He's fine with being cold.
All right. What's the next one you got
Well,
here?
that's a very good question. So I remember this one time that a certain individual went to Alcatraz.
That was me. I went to Alcatraz.
And what did you experienced something there, didn't you?
shit.
It's very possible that you did. I'm just buying time for right now.
I can't remember if I did or not. It's in the episode. We have a whole episode on Alcatraz.
I know, that's what I'm trying to find so I can tell people where to go. What is next? Why don't you read
It's like 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. All right, the next story is a Christmas ghost. It's said to haunt Bastion Square in Victoria, British Columbia. So on Christmas Day in 1890, a disturbing story appeared on the front page of a Victorian newspaper, the Daily Colonist. Just as the clock was striking midnight, ushering in the joyous Christmas day, as dark, cowardly, and mysterious as ever, disfigured the... What the hell?
Do I need to take over?
I don't know what the hell this is reading.
I don't know either.
Okay.
But if we go to, just real quick, I found it. If you want to listen to more about Ghosty's experience and Alcatraz altogether, episode 43.
Okay, take over this story for me because I'm ruining it.
All right, what this says is on December 25th in 1890, a disturbing story appeared on the front page of a Victorian newspaper called the Daily Colonist. Part of the article reads, just as the clock was striking midnight, ushering in the joyous Christmas day, a misdeed as dark, cowardly, and mysterious as ever disfigured the history of this providence was perpetrated. So basically, on Christmas Day, someone did something really heinous, more or less. Okay, the target, who went by the name of David Fee, was only 21 years old and had been walking to meet his parents for evening mass at the nearby church after attending a costume party. Dressed up in a white clown costume, Fee had just arrived at the corner where the cathedral sat when a man burst out from the shadows and aimed a double barrel directly at him. The man simply said, "You challenged me." Before Fee could speak, the man fired and Fee perished within moments. Apparently, the man had confused Fee for another man. Ever since that tragic night, Fee's ghost is rumored to roam the streets outside the cathedral, as well as his gravesite.
Oh, damn. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. Imagine, like, you're walking down the street, hey, went to a costume party with my friend.
Surprise, bitch!
You challenged me. Boom.
Pow!
Double barreled to the chest.
Damn.
Yeah. I would probably haunt the shit out of that place, too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's still there hundreds of years later, for sure. All right. So now we have this ghost. Anne Boleyn is said to return to her childhood home every Christmas Eve.
Anne Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn?
We've talked about Anne Boleyn before.
Oh, okay. Now that you said that, I have. That sounds very familiar. Okay. Hever Castle, which is nestled deep in the British countryside of Kent, was once home to the Boleyn. God, why is this so hard? Boleyn family. Anne Boleyn, the most well-known member of the family, lived the early part of her life there before she married King Henry VIII. Within a few short years of her marriage, however, Anne was targeted by dissent and gossip within the castle, accusing her of everything from witchcraft to adultery. Eventually, her husband formally accused her of these charges, and she was ultimately executed.
Henry VIII was just a
he was
crazy
out to kill
tyrant.
everybody.
Yeah.
Whether she suffers from heartbreak or homesickness, Anne Boleyn's spirit is said to haunt the halls of her childhood home, Hever Castle. However, she allegedly only appears on one day of the year, which is Christmas Eve. Rumors persist that her somber specter is seen drifting silently over the picturesque bridge that spans the River Eden, in the grounds of the home where she had all her happiness as a child.
Yeah, I'm not going to take the time to look up that episode, but we did, I think, talk a little bit more about Anne Boleyn on our Tower of London episode.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
So, our next story up, we have a slain highwayman supposedly reappears each Christmas Eve. Now, in England, one particular twisted ghost story harkens back to the tragic event that occurred on one Christmas Eve in the late 18th century. According to legend, there was once a fearsome highwayman known only as Gilbert, who would wander up and down one of the town's main roads. One evening, the night before Christmas, a man and his daughter were traveling in a horse-drawn coach when Gilbert apprehended them. The daughter was able to exit the coach, but before her father could disembark, the horses became startled and bolted down the road with the man and his coachman in tow. The two men struggled to get the horses back under control so they could go back and find the man's daughter, who had been left behind with Gilbert. However, when they arrived back at the scene, she was nowhere to be found. Instead, they saw Gilbert hunched over on the ground with a dagger in his side. Rumor claims that once the coach took off down the road, Gilbert revealed to the girl that he was the one who took her brother's life sometime before. Thrown into a rage by the revelation, she stabbed him and fled the scene. Local legend says that Gilbert was buried by the side of the road, and every Christmas Eve, he can be seen wandering the same road, waiting for the coach with the man and his daughter to pass by again.
Oh, shit. We should go on a trip to one of these places every year and just stake it out and see if we can see any of these ghosts.
But we can't hang out at all these places every Christmas Eve?
Well, no. We pick one every year.
No, let's do them all at the same time.
Okay.
All over the world.
All right,
London
let's
and
give
Brooklyn.
walkie-talkies.
Most of these are in England anyway, so.
Yeah, we can hit a bunch of these up.
England's small, right?
Yeah, it's small enough.
Yeah, we can do this.
All right, here's a spectral socialite is said to sing Christmas carols at the Hotel Bethlehem. So Hotel Bethlehem, located in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
You just ruined it for me.
Yep, it's
We
Pennsylvania.
can't do it now. We're Pennsylvania, Brooklyn, New York.
Well, yeah, those are pretty
There
close.
was Missouri, Michigan, whatever.
Michigan, yeah. All right, so this is home to a number of chilling ghost stories, not the least of which centers around a young girl named Mary Yo. Born in 1866, Mary, or May, was raised on the stage, inspiring within her a love for singing and performing from a young age. Her talent gained her much attention, and eventually she found herself performing with great success on stages in Paris and throughout Europe. She even caught the attention of a wealthy lord, who quickly married her and made her a member of the British aristocracy. Tragically, her success led her down a dangerous path. Her marriage fell apart after the lord who swept her off her feet went bankrupt, and she went on to marry an American soldier who robbed her of much of her wealth. At the time of her eventual passing, reports claim that she recalled her years in Bethlehem as the best of her life. To this day, Hotel Bethlehem's visitors claim to see apparitions of a young May Yo dressed in elegant attire and either singing at the piano or pacing next to the Christmas tree. Some even claim to have heard her faint but recognizable voice singing one of her favorite songs.
It's very quiet singing.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, that's reoccurring every Christmas, and she's singing Christmas songs, so...
Maybe.
Allegedly.
She's singing It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, which probably came out way after she did. So next we have Raucous revelers. Revelers? Good Lord. So there's these people that are said to ring in the season at the Crescent Hotel. Now, we've recently talked about the Crescent Hotel.
Yes, we have.
Or somewhere in there. The Crescent Hotel is by far one of the most notorious haunted hotels in the U.S., located along the northern border of Arkansas near the Ozark. DVO was still with us on this one.
Yep.
We called it the Murders in the Ozark or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's near the Ozark National Forest. The hotel has been plagued by tragedy and ghost stories since it was first erected in the 1880s. While there are different legends and ghostly sightings associated with almost every square inch of the hotel's estate, one story continues to astonish visitors to this day. Allegedly, one year during Christmas time, visitors came to view the hotel's Christmas tree, only to find that the Christmas tree and all of its package were mysteriously moved to the other side of the room. This could have been a prank staged by the hotel staff or a visitor. However, the occurrence was accompanied by sightings of various phantom spirits, dressed in Victorian-era clothing, wandering aimlessly around the hotel's dining room. Some said that spirits appeared to be playful, and they moved the gifts and furniture across the room as a joke. This was seemingly confirmed when the hotel staff reportedly returned the next day, only to find that everything was back exactly where it was supposed to be.
Those damn ghosts.
Now, we talked a lot about this, and I don't remember this story.
Nope, because it was a Christmas story, and it was waiting for this time to be told.
Apparently. Allegedly.
All right, there's the last story. This is the ghosts of Poland's kings are said to gather in a dragon's den on Christmas Eve. This is kind of cool.
Alrighty, the best for last, apparently.
So,
Allegedly.
in the middle of Krakow, Poland, sits the Wawel Castle, which for centuries served as the home of each of Poland's kings after it was built in the early Middle Ages. Since this time, it has been associated with numerous legends and ghost stories spanning as far back as the prehistoric era. One such legend involves a large series of caves that are rumored to exist under a plot of nearby land known as Wawel Hill. These caves have been explored countless times since they were discovered centuries ago, and they're rumored to hold a statue of a dragon and millennia of human record. The caves are believed to have been inhabited by humans since the prehistoric era. The legend says that in the 11th century, King Casimir, who was just a child at the time, explored these caves and came across a strange tunnel. Inside the tunnel, he claimed to have found a large stone emitting a glowing light, and from this light, a magical protective energy is said to be emitted throughout Krakow. To this day, local legends claim that the ghosts of all of Poland's past kings meet every Christmas Eve in that very tunnel to confer upon the fate of Krakow. Okay, so no one's ever seen these ghosts. It's just a legend that they talk about.
Legend has it.
That allegedly these things happen.
Apparently, allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, all right, there's our ghost stories for Christmas time. And that's our last episode for the year, guys.
Last episode for the year. So, while we're taking this short break, I think we're only going to be on for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Listen to some of our older episodes.
Yeah.
Like the ones we mentioned, Alcatraz, Crescent Hotel. Yeah, they're good ones.
The oldies but goodies.
Oldies but goodies. It seems to be what everybody's doing anyways, is listening to our old episodes. So continue doing that.
Yeah, get all caught up.
Yeah. By the time you hear this, you probably have already done all that. But if you're listening to this one first, that's kudos to you. It's a good episode because I said so. In the meantime, I have been listening to another podcast that I would like to recommend. It has raised a lot of questions in what we do and how we do things. It's from the perspective of a Catholic exorcist. It's called The Exorcist Files. You can find this on YouTube. It's on Spotify. I'm sure it's on other places as well. But this one is one that Castle actually told me about. And what makes this kind of different and interesting to me than other podcasts is they do dramatic reenactments of some of this guy's cases. So these are actual cases that this exorcist has worked on. I don't necessarily believe a lot of the Catholic teachings. I didn't grow up that religion, but I still find this very fascinating in what they do because it has to do with the paranormal.
Right. This sounds pretty good. So when they do the reenactment, they're just a voice acting or something?
They have actual voice actors. They put a lot of effort into the production quality of the show.
So they're getting paid. They're getting paid.
They are now. They did a Kickstarter over the summer. And they do have ads in their show. But they do have actual voice actors. They have a production and sound crew and all of that stuff. They've actually done this really cool 3D sound. So they do recommend you listen to it with headphones on. I normally listen to it in my car on the way to and from work. I tried the headphone thing, and on some of the reenactments you can actually hear one of the voice actors, if it's a couple talking, you hear the guy in one ear and you hear the woman in the other ear.
Okay.
You'll hear it in both ears, but it's more prominent on one side or the other. So they've actually put some time and effort into this podcast. I definitely...
They do some dynamic, immersive surround sound.
It's what I'm currently listening to because it is spooky season still.
All year, baby.
And I think this is a great spooky podcast to listen to when you've listened to all of our episodes first.
Yeah, make it a New Year's resolution this year to finish all of our episodes before the year ends.
You've got a week to listen to 177 other episodes.
Yeah, you better get on it. Get on it. Well, all right.
But also check out our social medias, evp.pod, at Facebook and at Instagram. We post stuff there like reaction videos and other funny paranormal related memes. And then you should, you know what? Last minute ghost hunting or gift ideas. Check out our affiliate link to ghoststop.com. You probably won't get it by Christmas because you procrastinated. But that is also a great place to buy ghost hunting gear for your ghost hunting enthusiast for Christmas. Slacker,
Well, all right, guys. Ghosts don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.